I lived alone in a small rented apartment downtown. Nothing special. An old building, narrow hallways, noisy during the day, too quiet at night. The kind of place where you learn to ignore the strange sounds that echo through the walls after 2 a.m. But it was only when apartment 405 became vacant that things really started to go wrong. The previous tenant was an elderly man named Elias, always alone, wearing the same gray clothes and worn-out shoes. He never spoke to anyone, but every Friday he would leave a package of cookies at my door. I never understood why. I never asked, never returned the favor, but they were always there. Warm, homemade, and delicious. Until, on a random Friday, the cookies didn't appear. I thought it was strange, but figured he might be sick or had gone on a trip. I knocked on his door in the late afternoon, just in case. No answer. The neighbors said they hadn't seen him in days. When I asked the building manager, he just said dryly, he moved out. No further details. But the door to 405 was never opened. No movers, no trucks, no sounds. It remained locked, the lights off, as if the apartment had been sealed. That's when the noises began. At 3 in the morning, footsteps could be heard on the ceiling. Slowly, as if an old, tired person were dragging their feet across the wooden floor. Sometimes the sound of a chair being moved. Other times, the tapping of a cane in a steady rhythm, always at the same time, always the same pattern. One night I decided to go up and check. It was late, I was tired, but curiosity got the better of me. I rang the bell at 405. Nothing. Knocked. Silence. I pressed my ear to the door, and that's when I heard it. Breathing. Slow. Deep. As if someone was leaning on the other side of the wood, almost asleep, or worse, almost dead. I stepped back, stood there in silence, until I heard something even stranger, a faint scratching on the other side, like nails sliding down the door. I ran back to my apartment, locked everything, and I swear, in the silence of that early morning, I heard the elevator going up, stopping on my floor, the doors opening, and no footsteps, nothing. The next morning, when I opened my door, there was a package of fresh cookies on the floor. From that point on, things got worse. The smell in the hallway started to change, a sweet, sickening odor, like wilted flowers mixed with meat. It began attracting flies, small at first, then dozens. The building manager sent a cleaner to 405. 3 hours later, he came out pale, speechless, trembling. He never returned. The following week, I started having nightmares, always the same one. I wake up in the middle of the night, leave my room and find my apartment door wide open. In the hallway, Mr. Elias is standing, holding a plate of cookies, and smiling, but not a human smile. It's a forced smile, like his mouth is being pulled from the inside, and the cookies are dripping blood. I would wake up screaming, sweating, look out the window and see him, standing on the top floor of the building, staring straight at me, even after I closed the curtains, even after I turned off the lights. Until one day everything went silent. No footsteps, no smell, no sound, just the empty hallway. And then, the cookie package vanished. I thought maybe it was over, maybe it was all in my head. But that night, around 3:17 a.m., something woke me up. It was a sound of chewing, but not soft. It was a wet, disgusting noise, like something eating raw meat. The sound was coming from the kitchen. I got up quietly, grabbed a flashlight, and walked slowly toward it. And what I saw, I will never forget. Sitting at the table, with his back to me, was Mr. Elias. But it wasn't him anymore. His skin was wrinkled, gray, stretched like old leather. His neck twisted unnaturally, as if broken, and his teeth, long, thin, and sharp, were chewing on something that looked like a human finger. He slowly turned his face. His eyes were completely black, no pupils, no soul. Then he spoke, with a gurgling voice that echoed like a whisper from beyond. "Thank you for keeping the ritual. But now, it's your turn to feed the building." The walls began to pulse, yes, pulse, as if breathing. The lights flickered, and I heard a sound from the ceiling, the walls, the floor, multiple voices whispering all at once, as if the building itself was waking up. I ran like never before, down the stairs, through the hallway, but when I got to the exit, it simply didn't exist anymore. There were only more hallways and more doors, all numbered 405, and every Friday, even against my will, something inside me moves. In the first days I tried to resist. I didn't want to give in, but the building, it doesn't allow that. The walls breathe, food rots before I can touch it, clocks spin backward, and on Fridays, always at 6 p.m., my hands move on their own. My vision darkens, my body acts without my permission. When I come to, I'm standing before the next door, with a warm package of cookies in my hand. At first, I thought it was sleepwalking or a delusion. But one night, I managed to fight back. I forced my body to stay still. I tied myself to the bed, taped my hands, laid down, exhausted. But when I opened my eyes, I was standing in the hallway, and all around me the floor was covered in scratch marks, my fingernails, that I had dragged trying to hold myself back. I tried to scream. No one hears. The building, it devours sound, it consumes will, it feeds on rituals. And then I understood. If I don't leave the cookies, it forces me to become what came before. The one who sat at the table, the one who chewed flesh, the one who stared through windows with black eyes. This is the curse of 405. You move in by chance. You think you're alone, but in truth, you've been chosen.